Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge, where you get your daily dose of satisfaction by listening to other people get what they deserve. In this episode, there's two stories. The first is a revenge on an office food thief. The second story is a bit longer, and it's a nightmare neighbor story with a really satisfying outcome. I hope you stay for the stories today, and subscribe for future videos. This first story is titled, "A coworker was eating people's lunches, so I poisoned him and got them fired." So I like to bring my own food into the office, and we have a fridge to put things into, and I have my food in tubs with my name on them. A coworker would sometimes not see people's names on food and think it was theirs, so would heat it up, eat it, and then apologize. They did this enough for it to be an annoyance, but not enough for the employers to really care. This had been happening with my food once or twice a month. Last month, I had enough. I ordered a bag of ghost chili peppers and put the full bag into a big pot of chili that would last several days. I took this into the office and had it for lunch every day. Mid-week, my lunch went missing, and I was waiting for the person who was stealing my lunch to get a shock when they ate it. What happened in reality was someone got sent home sick, and the next day they were off, and I was told they went to the doctors for stomach pains. 2 weeks went by, and the worker who was off refused to talk about it and said HR was involved, so I knew they were going to try to get me fired. I went home and ordered another bag of ghost chili peppers and made another batch of my chili, this time with only one chili in a single tub. I put this in the freezer, and the following Monday, I was told I had an HR meeting that day. I refused and said they needed to give me 24 hours to find someone to come into the meeting with me, and the next day, I had my manager come into the meeting and brought in my ghost chili infused chili. The long story short is I was told that I could be fired for trying to poison the person who was stealing my lunch, and I asked if they admitted to stealing people's lunches, which they did. I then said that I have a batch of the chili in question with me, and I like spicy food, and my liking of spicy food shouldn't stop me from having it at work, and my manager agreed it was on the person who took my lunch without knowing how spicy it was, and that I should not be held liable if they eat something of someone else's that doesn't agree with them. My manager and I then ate some of the chili and offered it to the other people in the meeting, some of which tried it and agreed that while it was spicy, it was clearly what I liked, as I was fine eating it. The meeting ended and nothing happened. I wasn't taken into another meeting, and my lunch wasn't taken anymore, but the person who had stole our lunch got a slap on the wrist and was allowed to stay at work. Soon after, lunches went missing again, so my manager went to HR to say that lunches were going missing, and he knew who was taking it and had proof this time. And when they asked for the proof, he presented the meeting record with a line highlighted where the coworker admitted that they'd stolen lunch. They were fired the next day for theft of property and told they would not be given a reference. In the story, OP mentioned the guy would eat the lunch first, and then apologize after. I really don't understand it. If you didn't bring it, why the heck are you eating it? This last story is titled, "I forced my Jekyll and Hyde neighbor to move out, but I didn't stop there." We, the wife and I, live in a townhouse complex. For anyone outside of my country, it's like a row of houses in a gated community. Our complex has 3 rows with 6 houses and 1 row with 5. Need room for that community pool. The 2 evil neighbors in question lived across from us, the one right across from us in Unit 10, and the one to their right, Unit 11. What you need to know about this is the driveway separating each of the rows. It's wide enough to fit 2 cars, okay-ish. If both cars are traveling slowly, they can pass each other with ease. When they first moved in, we got along okay with them. I even stopped to play games with their kids when walking past to my house from the car park. I thought they were good families, as when the kids did something like kick the balls at our wall, which would lead to an annoying thump inside, I would tell the parents and the kids got punished. I explained this because in just one day, they went from a nice family to assaulting my wife. We came home from an event one night. Another neighbor of ours made it to the driveway before us, so he was first. The people in number 10, whom I will now refer to as Psycho Bitch, and her husband, had their family van parked out front of their house, across from my house. The kids were getting in and out of the van, while Psycho Bitch was keeping an eye on things. Our other neighbor, who lives on our side of the complex right next to us, moved his car slowly past her and the van first. We'll call him Nice Neighbor for now. When Nice Neighbor slowly moved past the van, there was no problem at all. My wife was right behind the Nice Neighbor and did the exact same thing. Slowly moved her car past, in full view of Psycho Bitch. The strange thing is that nothing happened. My wife made it past without even a glare. I got out and opened the garage door for her to park the car. We reversed the car into our garage, and I was about to shut the rolling door when Psycho Bitch comes over screaming and yelling, accusing us of trying to run over her kids. She barged into our garage right past me and banged on the driver's side window to the point where my wife had to roll the window down or she would have broken it. She began pointing a finger and yelling about how dare my wife try to run over her kids. I want to point out that from the time my wife drove past the van to the time Psycho Bitch came raging over was 2 minutes. We don't know why she didn't blame the Nice Neighbor and why she didn't say anything to my wife as she moved the car past the van. It's like the worst delayed reaction in history, and to this day, we still don't know the real reason why they had it out for my wife and I. If the real reason was running over the kids, she would have been in the Nice Neighbor's face, or my wife's face, while she moved the car past the van. My wife felt cornered and scared, and I was about to drag Psycho Bitch out of the garage when her husband came storming over and threatened me not to touch his wife. After a few minutes of screaming at my wife, Psycho Bitch went too far. She slapped my wife hard across the face, and her sharp nails left multiple scratch marks and bleeding. This was the last straw for me, as my adrenaline kicked in. I'm not a violent guy. I like to think I'm normally smart by having the policy of the best defense is not get into a fight in the first place. I stormed over to Psycho Bitch, but her husband grabbed my shoulder from behind and demanded to know where I was going. I turned around and gutted the idiot in the stomach with a right hook, then ignored him as he went down. I grabbed her from behind as she was still wailing on my wife and threw her to the ground outside of the garage. I then told them to get the hell out of here and leave us alone. We went inside and called the police to file a report. The police took notes and photos. I even said I punched the husband in defense of my wife. I got nothing to hide. The police didn't do much apart from take notes, and that was it. The Jekyll and Hyde 180 they pulled on us really took us by surprise. They went from being amazing and kind neighbors to just jackasses. In the weeks and months that followed, we got insults, glaring, and threats from Units 10 and 11, as 11 joined their friends in condemning us. Most others in the complex took our side as they either saw or heard what happened. One thing was clear, Units 10 and 11 had to go. We own the place, and it's our home, and we aren't packing up our lives because Psycho Bitch wants to start drama with us. I talked to their landlord, who owned 10 and 11, and about 5 other houses in the complex, as he's a good friend, showcasing all of our documented proof of the harassment and threats towards us. He seemed concerned, but not enough to kick them out. I guess he really wants rent payments. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. I had their phone number from when we were good neighbors, and got myself a burner phone. I signed them up for every spam email I could find, ordered takeout to be paid on delivery every night of the week, and made sure their mailbox was stuffed with advertising. I even had men knocking on their door for promised fun, only to leave angry and had husband and Psycho Bitch at each other's throats. I made sure their phone was ringing at all hours of the night, and they even threw the phone out the window. As a final favor, I had a friend who runs a dog washing business come around pretending they booked her. When they explained that they had no dogs and screamed at her to leave, she finally understood what we've been dealing with. They kept berating her to leave, throwing in racial slurs, which was a bad idea. She took out the hose that's meant to wash the dogs and sprayed Psycho Bitch and her husband and the inside of the house all over the carpet. I think they finally got the hint and moved out a month later. Number 11 followed them a few weeks after. The entire complex had a huge pool party and celebration, but I wasn't gonna let them off that easy. That psycho wailed on my wife for no good reason, so prepare to lose it all. From when we were on good terms with the family, I knew they were on temporary visas while trying to apply for permanent residency. I made sure to mention to immigration where they'd moved and handed over the police report of them assaulting us in our home for no good reason. Seems Psycho Bitch didn't make her own police report, so ours was the be-all end-all and was enough to get them kicked out of the country. I know the country they came from, it's hard to get work, and it's why a lot of people from that country move here. I feel zero remorse booting them out. Zero, zip, nada. Now that's a pro-revenge. You don't assault someone out of nowhere and expect no consequences. I wonder if there's another reason why they flipped out on them. What would turn a good neighbor into a horrible one? Maybe OP's wife slept with Psycho Bitch's husband. And that's it for today's episode of r/pro-revenge. If you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I upload videos almost every day. See you guys in the next one.